What's going on, everybody? It is that time again. The Sooners Illustrated podcast, episode 209.
209.
On this Monday, September 15th, 2025. Josh Callaway, James D. Jackson, Tom Green with you on a post-game Monday. Oklahoma went into Philly and rolled over Temple. No funny business at all. Sooners completely dominant over the Owls on Saturday in Philly. Tom and I were there. We'll, of course, recap it all, break it all down. What were the takeaways? What stood out to us from Saturday in Philly? The big targeting call against R. Mason Thomas. What kind of impact could that have this week? We'll talk about that a little bit as well. And we'll go ahead and look at the week ahead. SEC play coming up. Jackson Arnold back in Norman. What that's going to be like. We'll peer ahead a little bit in the back end of the show as well here on this post-game reaction Monday. Oklahoma 3-0, and we're going to break it all down for you here on the podcast. Reminder, as we get going, subscribe over at oklahoma.247sports.com to Sooners Illustrated. Use that promo code SoonersPod60. You get 60% off a VIP membership for a year right now to Sooners Illustrated and the entire 24/7 Sports Network. Perfect time. Jump in. Season off to a great start. Be part of the community with us every single day, along with all our Sooners Illustrated members. Part of the conversation. The website's been buzzing this month. I think people are starting to really start to feel like this team can accomplish some big things. And so jump in with us at Sooners Illustrated. Use that promo code SoonersPod60. 60% off. Phenomenal value for a year to Sooners Illustrated. And again, the entire 24/7 Sports Network. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and get into it. Oklahoma goes into Philly, first road game of the year, and just smashes Temple 42-3, the final score. You know, the takeaway for me, or one of the top ones at least, was just no funny business at all. That was the thought going in. We talked about the game preview on Friday. Like, would there be any kind of sleepwalking in this spot? You just beat Michigan. You got Auburn next week. It's an early kick against a team that you should beat, Temple. We thought the crowd might not be very good. It wasn't. It was not. I mean, it was maybe a quarter full in there, maybe a little more. I mean, it was not a big crowd. It wasn't like it was some crazy atmosphere. We'll put it that way. So it's been very easy to kind of be a little flat in this game. They weren't at all. 3 and out, touchdown to start, 2-point conversion. Just no, I mean, I said in the interaction with Tom on Friday or on Saturday, at no point did you ever think Temple even had a little bit of a shot in this game. Got to give Oklahoma credit for that, right? I mean, just to come out and just Brent Venables called it a mature win. I think that's the best way to put it. Just took care of business on Saturday.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, mature is a very apt word.
It is.
Like, it was a very business-like approach for this team. Like, it was, we talked about it. Like, there were a lot of people, even on the national level, that were saying that this was a tricky spot for Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Coming off that big emotional win against Michigan, early season marquee non-conference game. And then, you have your SEC opener against Auburn, Jackson Arnold coming back this week. Sandwiched between that, like, it could be very easy to have a letdown, but they went out there and they just handled business from the jump. The defense was just utterly dominant. Offense rolled up 500-plus yards total, 228 on the ground, 100-yard effort from Tory Blaylock. I'm sure we'll get more into that. But it was just a very, again, I've used this word a lot, but it was a very thorough and convincing performance. They left no doubt about it at all. And, listening to Brent Venables on his studio show Sunday, that he was talking about going for that 2-point conversion early. Obviously, it's something that Auburn now has to work on, spend a little bit of time in practice. Right. But it was something that Oklahoma talked about all week. It's like, hey, after our first score, we're gonna do this because it's just one of those things that kind of sucks the life out of an opponent that's already overmatched.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I got a score right. That's what I saw. 42-3 was my pick.
We joked in instant reaction, or before we recorded, what are the odds James brings up that he nailed the score?
I'm gonna bring it up, man. I'm not right often, so when I'm right, when I'm right, I gotta say something, man. You know what I mean? So that was pretty cool. Like
I will say, you were hedging a little bit on game day. You were like, it's 42-3 going into the fourth quarter. There's no way I get it right now. So,
and they didn't score yet. Yeah, that's pretty funny. But other than that, I mean, the Oklahoma defense set the tone for this game. I mean, outside of the 3 points they got was because of the interception that Keontae Lewis got hit pretty hard, and I think that's something to watch for too as we go into the Auburn week as well. Just not sure what his availability is going to be, but it was just that moment where Oklahoma really was like, in the red zone now, going against Temple's offense, and they still didn't let up any touchdowns. I mean, it was like that type of stuff sets the tone for what Oklahoma's offense is going to do. And we saw the run game get a lot better. I mean, overall, just because of that. I mean, 4 of the 5 touchdowns were on the ground. I mean, that's something that you want to see when you're going against an inferior opponent. That's what we were asking for against Illinois State. Now you got to see it against Temple. So it was a good night for that because the defense set the tone, the ground game got going, and you didn't have to do a lot with John Mateer, throwing the ball because of what you were doing on the ground game. So it just keeps everybody pretty much healthy outside of, I think, Keontae Lewis, I think, is the one that you got to watch out for going forward. So it was a good overall night for Oklahoma. They played to the standard. Was one of my keys to the game was that. And I think they did that coming out, like you said, getting that 3 and out and then going out and scoring and getting a 2-point conversion. It was a good day for Oklahoma overall, I think.
No doubt. I do think, again, Oklahoma's a lot better than Temple, but they deserve credit for just, again, I just can't stress enough how from the first play, it was like, oh, Oklahoma's ready to play, and Temple never had a shot, and they couldn't do anything offensively. We'll talk about the defense in a bit, but just dominate, which is what you wanted to see. It would have been easy to kind of be a little sleepwalking, and just none of that. Really a lot of credit to Venables and his staff for avoiding that. Like James said, Keontae Lewis gets drilled on the play over the middle. We'll see that they're into SEC play now, so we're going to have availability reports again this week, and so we'll see where he's at. Obviously, he's off to a great start this season. Was off to a nice start on Saturday. Had a few nice plays in that first quarter, so that's obviously a big question mark. But getting into the offense a little bit here, guys, I mean, again, really good. I said this in interaction with Tom. It just feels like it's getting more and more polished and just kind of in control every week. Like, it just feels like they're a little more sure of themselves and what they're doing with each passing drive. Like, you can see it. Offensive line, the same as last week. Sub Logan Howland in for Michael Fasusi. They help Fasusi back. I don't think anything serious there. I expect him right back in there for Auburn. We speculated they might hold him back on Friday, and they did. Otherwise, though, I mean, really good again. Tom, you mentioned it. We'll get right into Tory Blaylock. The guy's running back 1. I mean, he's a true freshman, and he's running back 1. He goes for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He got the start. I mean, the run game is coming along in large part because of him. It's kind of unbelievable. I mean, I think when we did the position preview, we all kind of thought, like, kid's really talented. He's having a good camp. But, look at all the other guys here. Look at Jaden Ott and Xavier Robinson's back, and Javonte Barnes and Taylor Tatum. Like, probably not going to be a huge role for Tory Blaylock right away. And he earned it in fall camp, and he's just running away with the job right now because he's playing so well. A huge game for Tory Blaylock on Saturday.
Yeah. Didn't Javonte get the start?
He may have. I don't know.
Yeah, Javonte got the start.
He got those carries.
Javonte got the start, yeah.
Yeah, Javonte got the start, but Tory Blaylock obviously was the story of the game for Oklahoma's offense, at least. 100 yards on the ground on 14 carries, 2 touchdowns. Both touchdowns very impressive. Like that first one from, I think it was 6 yards out, just like absolutely crushed the safety at the goal line in there. Second one was an 18-yarder, which I believe at the time was the longest run by an OU running back this season. And then, he broke off a 25-yarder there late in the third quarter, which was at that point the longest running play period for Oklahoma all season, until one play later when John Mateer broke off a 51-yarder. Yeah. But still, just a very impressive performance from Tory Blaylock. SEC Freshman of the Week was named that this morning. I'm curious to see. Like, I agree that he has earned the lion's share of the carries at this point. I'm curious to see whether he starts against Auburn, because I still think Javonte is your best pass blocking running back right now. So I could see him getting the start and getting some early carries there, and then rotating Tory Blaylock in. Just because I think Tory's still a work in progress a little bit there in terms of pass protection. So we'll see, because that is something they obviously value, especially got to protect John Mateer and have him comfortable and finding some rhythm early there. But without a doubt, Tory Blaylock has been super impressive off the bat. Ben Arbuckle was asked about it after the game. It's like, is it rare for you to really trust a running back like this, or a freshman, period?
Yeah, right.
And he was like, yeah, it's a little crazy, but he just inherently trusts Tory Blaylock with the ball in his hands right now, and it's shown.
I mean, he just runs with that burst and that decisiveness that you're looking for, I think, in a running back. And so that's shown early. And he's always had the speed to be a guy that can play at this level and at a high level. And so you're seeing that all just come together for him just throughout his career so far. I mean, it's been pretty short, but it's been like you see that he can be running back one. And I think he is. For a second, I thought it was going to be the Tory Blaylock, just overall, this is his game. I thought he was going to get more than 3 touchdowns because of the way he was running the football. But the other running backs got in and got some run. Like Xavier Robinson got a touchdown catch, which is the only touchdown pass of the day. Javonte Barnes got a touchdown as well. So there was that moment where Tory Blaylock could have been the guy that just had a amazing day overall, but he got the SEC Freshman of the Week, so it looks good for him overall. He just runs with that decisiveness that I think you're looking for. Has shown so far.
Yeah, he's been awesome. I mean, like Tom said, just ran over the guy for the first touchdown. The second one up the sideline, kind of Rodney Anderson-esque, like to just. Oh. It looks like they have the angle on him. And again, it's Temple. They're going to play SEC defenses and stuff, but he just runs by. Like it seemed like he didn't have the angle to get there, and he got there quite easily, actually. So yeah, he's been incredible. Obviously, what do we make of the Jay Knott thing? I mean, again, 4 carries. They were all in garbage time. Like you guys said, they used Javonte Barnes early. They got Xavier Robinson involved. He got a touchdown on a pass play. Jay Knott doesn't really. Again, he gets in there completely garbage time at the end of the game. I don't know. I mean, again, when Tory Blaylock's playing well, it's like, who cares, right? It's not a problem. Mm-hmm. But it's also just nobody expected him to have this little of a role. It's not even that he's being ineffective. He just doesn't – he's not getting out there. I mean, what's the read here? I mean, I still think Jay Knott has a chance to get into the mix at some point, but it's kind of stunning a little bit how little of a role he has right now.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to throw in the towel on him just yet. When you get into the meat of the SEC schedule, probably starting with that Texas game, and because from there it's just like it doesn't stop. So if he hasn't worked his way in there these next couple games, few weeks coming out of the bye week and all that, then I'd be like, okay, this is a failed experiment. I thought it was very telling afterward when Brent Venables was asked after the game, what's the status of Jaden Knott? He's just like, you wish he was further along in every area.
Interesting wording.
Yeah. And that's not just like coming off the shoulder injury from camp. It's, knowing the offense. It's, making the effort. I mean, we all saw looked like a lack of effort on that little pop pass to Elijah Thomas when he was in there in the fourth quarter. It's like, you got to go out there and you got to block, man. You got to do the little things to earn the playing time. Yeah. And if he's not getting playing time on Saturdays, it's because he's not showing it in practice.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
During the week.
Yeah.
So I think it's concerning right now. I think it's a little telling the way Brent Venables answered that question. And, it's a shame because, we've seen what Jaden Knott can be when he's healthy and engaged and, really just bought in. You go back to when he first got here, when we spoke to him before the season, when everybody thought he was going to be running back one in this offense and just really be featured as a weapon in the passing game and the running game and everything. And he was talking about the biggest difference between Cal and Oklahoma. And he's like, people here care. They're committed to their craft. And so far, I don't know if he's shown that he has that same level of dedication that the rest of these guys do. But I'm not ready to call it a failed experiment just yet. But we're at some point, like if he does not get involved soon, like you got to roll with Tory Blaylock, you got to roll with Javonte Barnes, you got to roll with Xavier Robinson. We'll see Taylor Tatum ever, gets back and finds his role in this offense too. But we did talk about it before the season. Like there's depth in that running back room. You feel great about it now, the way Tory Blaylock's just come on so strong. But if you can have a healthy and, engaged and committed Jaden Knott look like the guy he was 2 years ago, then yes, there's a potential for this offense to find another level with him. But we just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I think the adjustment period's just been going on longer than I guess everybody anticipated. For Jaden Knott. Just that's pretty much what I think it is coming down to. Like, he just got to get adjusted and well versed in what Oklahoma's doing, because we talked about it with Javonte Barnes was helping him with like moving in and getting there, getting some of the playbook down. Like that type of situation was what Javonte Barnes was helping him out with. So it's like what's going on now is like, I guess he's not doing it in practice. He's not having the right reps. It's not going well for him. So it's like Tory Blaylock is doing everything I thought Jay Knott would be doing, basically. Like the way he runs with the football, I think that's what I thought. So I think you just roll with Blaylock right now. I mean, it's what Arbuckle has said. He's going to grow with the hot hand. He doesn't really care who it is. It's going to be the hot hand, and that's what he's going to do. And so I think you're going to see more of Blaylock going forward because of what he's done so far.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely disappointing that we all had such high expectations and it hasn't happened yet. And I'm with Tom. I mean, I'm not out on it yet. There's a lot of season left and it could still turn around. But right now, I mean, he's kind of buried on the depth chart, just frankly put, the way that Blaylock's running. They obviously really trust Javonte Barnes and Xavier Robinson getting out there making plays. Like, it's just, kind of what I was saying before, like the running backs are kind of playing well. Certainly Tory Blaylock is. So as long as they are, it's like, it doesn't matter. Now, if they get to a point where they're not running the ball, that's where it's going to get a little frustrating because it's like, okay, well, where's the guy that was supposed to be the guy? You know what I mean? So we'll see how it's going to continue to be a storyline. I think, I mean, if we get into the late part of the year and it's still this, it'll fade back. But right now we're on kind of every week kind of being like, where is Jay Knott? And we keep asking Brent Venables and Ben Arbuckle, like, where is this guy that, again, we hyped him up, but they hyped him up. And Brent Venables
called him a home run hitter.
And we're not seeing him. It's kind of crazy, but what can you do? Looking at other guys in the offense, Jaren Kanak, I wanted to make sure to highlight him. What the heck? He's been so good. It's crazy. Tom, you can illuminate us on the numbers a little bit for what he's on pace to do, but he goes 4 catches, 86 yards on Saturday, throws the 2-point on the crazy fake with throws to Jacob Ulrich, the punter, which was a crazy play. He's like John Mateer's safety net on third downs. John Mateer, who was great again, obviously, and his ability to extend plays is just nuts. But whenever he does that, it seems like he's looking for Jaren Kanak, who always seems to find a way to be open and make big plays when they really need it. It's crazy the year he's having. And again, I mentioned it, Tom, you kind of looked into the numbers for like what he's on pace to be. It's super early, but he's on track to have one of the better seasons that Oklahoma tight end has had in like close to a decade. It's crazy.
I mentioned this last week, and then obviously he continued play well against Temple, but he's on pace to have a better season right now than Mark Andrews did. And Mark Andrews, I think, had 958 yards that year.
He was awesome.
And that was in 14 games. Jaren Kanak is on a 12-game pace to have 968 yards. Adding the bowl game, bowl game, playoff, SEC title game, whatever postseason there's going to be for Oklahoma.
Sure.
He is on a 1,000-yard pace. Will that, be able to sustain that over the course of SEC play against better defenses? That remains to be seen. But what he's been able to do through these first 3 games after playing linebacker for 3 years is kind of remarkable. I think he's 9th in the SEC total in receiving and the only tight end in that group. I believe he's first in the nation among tight ends in receiving so far. Like you said, he's been a good safety valve for John Mateer on third down. It's basically been like him and Keontae Lewis have been the go-to guys on third downs. If Keontae Lewis does indeed miss the Auburn game with what we believe will be a concussion, obviously Kanak's role becomes a little bit more important.
Sure.
Brent Venables spoke about it on his show on Sunday. It's like, yeah, man, like, a lot of defenses, the middle of the field is weak. Like, it is easy to find a hole in the middle of the field against a lot of defenses. It's not always easy to have a guy who has a natural feel for finding that space, though. And Kanak has done that so far. We've heard a lot. He's got soft hands, just has a good feel for reading defenses and like knowing the rotations to find the pockets to get open. And having a guy like that has been really beneficial. It's just crazy. We joked about it. It's like, Oklahoma's has maybe an all SEC tight end, and he's been hiding on defense for 3 years.
I know.
It's just wild. But yeah, I mean, he has exceeded and continues to exceed like any expectation anybody had of this when the news first trickled out in January, February.
Yeah, we were like we all didn't know. We had a lot of questions about if that was going to be a viable option for them because it's late in his career and making that shift, and and Ben Arbuckle came out and said, well, yeah, I had a guy that did it at Washington State. I mean, I guess it's like normal for an athlete of that caliber to make those type of plays. But Kanak's just been awesome overall. I mean, outside of just not having a touchdown so far, he's been an amazing target for John Mateer. I think it's incredible what he's done. He might even be an All-American at the end of all this because of what he can do at the tight end position, which is kind of what Jim Nagy was kind of saying, pointing out to you, Josh. I mean, on your tweet. So I mean, it's a good deal overall, I think, for them. I mean, Jaren Kanak has really shown his skill set throughout the series, throughout his career.
Yeah, I got you. It really is nuts. I saw a graphic this morning that was the top 10 receiving leaders in the SEC, 9 wideouts, 1 tight end, Jaren Kanak. It's great. It really is. It's nuts. And he's been great so far, and we expect that to continue. I mean, John Mateer clearly trusts him, and he finds a way to get open. So a lot of credit to what he's done. It's been unbelievable to this point.
It seems like he's getting he's doing better at blocking too. Have you guys noticed that as well? Like him getting out there and
he's doing good enough.
Yeah, he's doing better than even we thought he was going to do as well. Like in that area, so
he's been a lot better blocking in space than like at the line of scrimmage. Like when he's against guys that are like sized. He can take on a linebacker or a safety or a corner. I'm not putting him on an island against like this weekend. I'm making sure that he is not one-on-one against Keldrick Falk at any time.
Yeah,
sure.
Like if he's going to be blocking Keldrick Falk, it is going to be as a help blocker. Because I mean, we saw it some in fall camp when they were doing some of those running drills there, and like R. Mason Thomas just kind of like plowed through him. Like that's what's going to happen if he more than likely against some of these bigger defensive ends in the SEC. But if you get him out in space and blocking at the second and third level, yeah, he can do that. And he can throw too, apparently.
He can throw too. Unbelievable. The trick play. Just pulled that out of nowhere, and it worked. And they threw it to Ulrich, which is just nuts. And quite a start to the year for Jaren Kanak. If he does get in the end zone, like James said, I'm expecting a lot on the celebration for Jaren Kanak. It's in his head of what it will be. We'll get it eventually. Other offensive takeaways, obviously the best game of the year so far for Isaiah Satania. Pitch played very well, led the team in receiving with 97 yards on 7 catches. Really good to see that from him in general, but then also looping in Keontez Lewis. If Keontez Lewis is going to be out, it's good to know that you just had Satania coming off his best game going into this weekend. Again, thought John Mateer was good. He had the interception rate. He took the blame for it post-game, saying, I led Keontez Lewis right into that hit. I got to be better, and he kind of felt bad about it, obviously. But, again, Mateer continues to just make plays. He rips off the big 51-yard touchdown run himself, which was just blocked perfectly. He wasn't touched at all. Give Logan Howland credit for that. Watching him back this morning, he kind of was the one that really created that lane, and untouched, 51 yards. But anything else on offense that kind of stuck out to you guys from Saturday?
Yeah, you mentioned Isaiah Satania.
Yeah, he was really good.
Career high in receptions and receiving yards for a game. Also, just coming off of that Michigan game where he had the muffed punt, it was good to see him field punts cleanly today, and then have that kind of offensive performance too, so you can kind of just put it behind him. I think when we were talking about him throughout the preseason as kind of this reliable guy that can do a lot of things in this offense, this is kind of a little bit more what we imagined. We saw him take a couple of those little pop passes, saw him run some shorter routes. It feels like it's only a matter of time before Mateer finds him over the top downfield, because it almost feels like that's like, even though this offense has had a lot more explosive plays, it feels like it's just it hasn't had that like big home run touchdown yet. I feel like that's going to come in a matter of time. But to get Isaiah Satania going like that, have a game like this heading in SEC play, I think is good for him. And then the other thing, you said Mateer, solid game. It's almost like ho-hum for him at this point, like almost 350 yards of offense, 9th straight game with a passing and rushing touchdown. It is kind of crazy that Oklahoma scored 42 points and none of the touchdowns were from a wide receiver or a tight end. It was like all running backs and John Mateer, which that's one thing. I think the offensive line, they did some good things, and then there's still some more that you want to see from them. Like you said, expect Michael Fasusi back this week. I think Jake Michael got rolled up later in that game. We'll see how he's doing. I mean, he's a tough guy. And then I think Fabechi Wiwu might have gotten rolled up on too. So I think those two things will be something to monitor this week heading into Auburn. Certainly, I think you need those guys against a pretty good Auburn defensive front.
And Troy Everett didn't make the trip to Philly. Hopefully get an update there, obviously, because he's the next guy after Michael. So we'll keep an eye on that too.
Yeah, and if Troy Everett's out, then you're probably looking at Fabechi Wiwu coming in as your number 2 center.
Like an emergency catcher in baseball, like emergency.
Move Fabechi to center and then have Ryan Foje step in at right guard. So we'll see if they have to tinker at all, but that's certainly something that we'll be monitoring this week ahead of Auburn.
I think it's just good to see that what Oklahoma can do with healthy wide receivers. I mean, because against Illinois State, it was Keontae Lewis and pretty much having a really good game. Then it was Deion Burks against Michigan, and now it was Isaiah Satanga against Temple. So, you have a guy like Deion Burks. He doesn't have to have a star-studded game every game for the offensive passing attack to be really good. And it's good to see that each time it's been a different receiver. They're all showing that they can be reliable options. So it's what kind of gives the hype for Oklahoma going into this, into this SEC play. It's like they're looking good on offense because so many different guys can contribute, and you're seeing that now with all the running backs, the receivers doing their thing. It's just like it's good overall.
Yeah, Zion Koenig out there made a couple plays as well. Nice to see. It gave Michael Hawkins a lot of run in this game. He got over a quarter, did some nice things. They didn't score. You would have liked him to lead a scoring drive. I thought the deep ball to Koenig in the corner was a pretty good throw. Just was pretty well defended. And then he had one in the fourth quarter, a bomb to Elijah Thomas that would have been a touchdown if not. I mean, the guy just tackled him. It was just a PI, like on beat PI. So kind of robbed Hawkins and Elijah Thomas of like a big highlight play for them and their stats, but still a good play. So got a chance to get a lot of other guys in the game, which is nice. Get the offense off their feet. A lot of the starters, Mateer and stuff like that, and good day offensively. And again, it just feels like it's getting better and better each passing week. Going over to the defense, I mean, just complete annihilation. 104 total yards for Temple. 104. Tory Blaylock almost had that himself on the other side. Like it's Temple did not do anything. Anything. What were you gonna say, Tom?
I was gonna say if Tory didn't block or didn't drop that pass from John Mateer, he would have had more total yards than Temple did.
That's right. Yeah. Defense was awesome. I mean, Temple again, it was a mismatch from the start. Again, same thing. 3 weeks in, same thing. You cannot run the ball again between the tackles, especially against this team. David Stone just blowing plays up. Dominic Williams was really good again too. Defensively, guys, I mean, this defense is really good. I mean, it's really fun to watch. They just get after you. Evan Simon was living on the ground all day. 4 sacks and 11 TFLs in this game. 11. That's a big number.
Most in South Carolina last year.
Just completely everything you'd hope against a team like Temple, where it's like you have the personnel advantage, complete domination, a great day defensively for these guys, and it's just been so impressive through 3 games so far.
Yeah, I mean, the 104 total yards is the fewest that an Oklahoma defense has allowed in more than a decade. 1.9 yards per play is just filthy. Really, they should have had a shutout. Temple's only points were after that John Mateer interception.
2 shutouts have been lost because of John Mateer.
But it's funny, like, listening to Brent after the game, like, out of all the things that the defense did and out of all the things that the offense did this game, he said his favorite moment in the game, was actually when Temple scored. Because after that change of possession, the defense goes out there, with its back 13 yards from the end zone and pushes Temple back 3 yards on 3 plays and makes them settle for a field goal. He used the word demoralizing, and that's what this defense has done to opponents so far. They've demoralized them. Casey Keeler after the game said the defense has a bunch of savages, which I think is another apt description for them because they're just relentless. I wrote about this yesterday on the site, but we heard Brent use the word. It's like watching them at recess. It's like a schoolyard. They're out there, just running around having fun, and it goes back to, I think, Samuel Mosigo was saying this after the game, but it was something that was first brought up when Ryan Poles, the Chicago Bears GM, came in and spoke to the team during fall camp. He was like, "Yeah, man, football should be fun. Like, if you're not having fun, what are you doing?" And Sammy talked about it after the game. Kendall Dolby kind of referenced it too. He was like, "Yeah, man, like, we've been doing this our whole lives. Like, it's a game. It should be fun. We should be out there having a blast." And the defense has been playing like that so far because you have a lot of these guys that are in their 2nd, 3rd, 4th year in the system and are just comfortable in it. They're comfortable with each other. The communication is better, and it's showing because they are absolutely suffocating these other teams. Like, if this is recess for Oklahoma's defense, it's detention for opposing offenses at this point. Like, they've been that good. Their 3-and-out rate on the year so far is just absurd. I think it's like almost 45% of opponents' drives have been 3 and outs, and that's not including like end of half kneel downs, stuff like that.
Right.
The punt rate, 27 punts, 5 scoring drives, a couple other turnover on downs and missed field goals there too. So they've just like taken the air out of these opposing offenses so far. And look, I don't expect them to be able to sustain it at this level because they are going to play better teams once you get in SEC play. But right now, like from what we've seen and the way this team has handled business defensively, this is a championship caliber defense. Just with the depth, the execution, Brent Venables calling plays again, like it is a very, very good defense.
Yeah.
And I think it starts with the front seven. I think that's like the highlight of this defense because the defensive line it's just been playing phenomenal. Jaden Jackson is who we always thought was going to be really good going into the season. And then you got like a guy like David Stone who now looks like that 5-star rating that he had coming out of high school. So like adding those type of things with Grayson Halton, Dominic Williams, it looks really good overall. And then the linebackers are playing well as well. I mean, we've talked about it with Owen Heineke getting in there as a former walk-on, a guy playing at that level. It's just been great for this Oklahoma defense so far. And they're playing against teams that predominantly want to run the ball so far this season. So they haven't been able to do that. So going to see what they're going to – I'm willing to see what they're going to do against this passing attack that, Auburn could have because they do have a lot of good wide receivers on the outside. See how they handle that. And shout out to Kendall Dobie, by the way, as well for getting back out there after his injury last season. So he was out there at cornerback. Wanted to highlight him as well doing that. So
not only out there, but starting.
Yeah. Looked pretty good. So – wanting to see what Oklahoma does against that, but just the front seven overall has just been phenomenal this season so far.
Yeah, I don't think that I know we've been praising Jaden Jackson. I don't think we've been talking about him enough. We might be underselling how good he is.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
I know you wrote about Reggie Powers after the game, but Reggie Powers doesn't get that sack unless Jaden Jackson just blows up a double team and forces the quarterback to reverse course. Pushed him right into Reggie, and it's again, I know it's Temple. I know these guys are overmatched, but he is just dominating the line of scrimmage.
He did against Michigan too.
Yeah, so often when you're seeing these opposing offensive lines get pushed back 2 or 3 yards on plays, it is because Jaden Jackson is leading the charge there and just dominating his assignment.
And that's what I mean. They're going against teams that want to run the football, especially in Michigan that prides themselves on running the football, and Oklahoma's having that defensive line play against a unit like that. That's skilled for that job, and they're not doing it. So it's great.
I thought the depth was on full display. The amount of guys that came in and made plays. I mean, look at the tackle numbers. I mean, just you have Dolby, Powers, Taylor Heim coming in and getting 4 tackles. They tie for the team lead. A bunch of guys with 3, a bunch of guys with 2. They just were bringing so many guys in just in waves. Great to have Kendall Dolby back, like James said. I thought he looked a little rusty-ish early. Gave up a couple catches, but it felt like it got better. I mean, give the guy cut him some slack. It's been about 8 years since he had that brutal injury. And you could tell the way Brent Venables feels about him. Said he almost made him choked up a little bit, seeing him get out there. That's cool. Really cool after a rough injury last year in that Tennessee game. And, they held Gentry Williams out. He went through warm-ups and stuff, I think, probably like Fasusi, be right back out there this week against Auburn. But just the depth it stands out. And, something we probably haven't talked about enough is the fact that with the depth and just the way the defense has played through 3 games, these guys have got to be fresh, relatively speaking. The snap counts are low. I mean, they didn't have to run out those top guys that much at all in this game on Saturday. So going to SC play, I think you got to be feeling pretty darn good about the overall health and the energy level and just the way they're playing. I mean, there's really nothing to complain about defensively. They gave up 1 touchdown through 3 games, and it was on a bus. I mean, nobody has put together a legitimate touchdown drive against Oklahoma so far. Now, again, we keep saying it. The opponents are going to get a lot better. SEC play this week. They're going to face better quarterbacks, all that. But it's been A+. I mean, so far. I mean, what more could you want with what they've done?
Well,
3 games.
There's one thing that you could want.
That's true.
They do not have a turnover.
No turnovers. Yeah.
No turnovers.
There it is.
They're one of 6 FBS teams that have yet to force a turnover this season. One of 2 Power 4 teams that have not forced a turnover. Purdue's the other one. Brent Venables joked like, how disgusting is it that they don't have a turnover?
I know.
Yet they came close a couple. They came close a couple times against Michigan. They came close a couple times against Temple. Grayson Halton would have had like.
Oh, that would have been one of the plays of the year.
Yeah, like Samuel Masigo just batting. Like first of all, they have Temple backed up to their own 1 because their kickoff return guy catches it and then steps out of bounds.
Yeah,
almost get a safety, and then like the next play, Samuel Masigo gets in there, bats an Evan Simon pass up in the air, and Grayson Halton tries to make a diving grab for it in the back of the end zone. Like that would have been like the play of the year for Oklahoma if he had come up with that. Didn't get it. I know a lot of the guys were giving him a hard time afterward about it. I think Jaden Jackson joked that he needs to get on the drugs machine, work on that. And then they almost had one in the fourth quarter too when Wyatt Gilmore forced a fumble. But Temple was able to recover that. So I look, it's not a concern that they don't have the turnovers yet. They've been very good at forcing turnovers through the first 3 years here with Brent Venables. A lot of the time though, turnover production is kind of luck. It's luck and execution kind of meeting each other and just like being able to capitalize on those opportunities. They're going to come with time. But I think that is like the one knock that you can kind of have on this defense at this point. But I don't think it's a concern at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt. They were close. Like I said, Grayson Halton almost, and Gilmore gets that strip sack. The ball is on the ground. So they're getting close. I agree with Brent Venables. Like, they're going to come eventually. You keep playing defense the way they are. And I think, the first 3 games, teams have intentionally been kind of trying to be conservative and try to avoid turnovers has been like a priority of all 3 teams they played so far. So
yeah,
that'll happen. It would be kind of poetic if Arnold gives them one this week.
Yeah, I saw that Michigan opened up their playbook more against Central Michigan. It showed that they saw what Oklahoma puts on film. Like, it's not something that you can just play around with. So you saw that too, like defensive prowess that Oklahoma has.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Auburn, they've fumbled it 6 times so far this season, but only lost one of them, and that was Jackson. I think he's got 4, maybe 5 fumbles now. I haven't looked at the updated numbers for him. Obviously, we know he had some fumbling issues last year here. Did a little bit better protecting the ball through the air. So we'll see. It would be kind of poetic, I guess, if their first takeaway is against their former quarterback. But I do want to say, like you said, they've allowed 19 points through 3 games. They're 4th in the nation in scoring defense, just 6.3 points allowed per game. I think they're 4th in third down efficiency, 1st in defensive pass efficiency. I think they're 4th in, or maybe even 2nd in passing defense total. So they've been great so far this year. They've been as advertised. And one other guy I do want to mention that we didn't touch on. I know we mentioned Kendall Dolby made his long-awaited return. Jacoby Johnson got back out there for the first time this season. I think Brent Venables said yesterday he was dealing with a little bit of a groin issue before the start of the season. So to get him back out there just adds a little bit more depth to that cornerback room.
Yeah, no doubt. One more shout out to there's so many guys, but I want to make sure I get him. Marvin Jones is playing some good football right now as well. Yeah. And he's going to be big this week.
Exactly.
Because segueing in, the one bad thing that happened in this game is that RB Thomas got ejected for targeting in the second half, which means he's going to miss the first half against Auburn. I hate that rule, by the way. So he's going to be out for the first half. That's obviously ginormous. Now they're going to appeal it. Tom asked Brent Venables post game, would you look at appealing it? And he said, yeah, we definitely will. Watching it back this morning, I don't know. It feels like appeals that they get back are fairly rare. That's anecdotal. I don't have a number on that. It just feels like it doesn't happen that often.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously a huge deal here, guys, though. The defense is playing great. It's not all one guy by any means, but RB Thomas is the best guy over there. And there's a lot of attention on him that offenses have to have. And he has to miss the first half against Auburn. That's a big deal, certainly. Now, again, Marvin Jones is playing great. Taylor Wine is making plays. I thought PJ Adebawore continues to look pretty good each passing week. Maybe Danny Okoye, who didn't play in this game, he wasn't dressed. Maybe he has more of a role in the first half at least if R. Mason is indeed not out there. But obviously you want to get this game injury-free. You got the Keontae Lewis one, which is not, hopefully nothing long-term. Not an injury here, but kind of dang it. This is the one thing that you really didn't want to have, especially at a player like R. Mason Thomas. So potentially a big deal here with that targeting.
Yeah, it's a tough break. We'll see what they hear. I don't know if Brent Venables might address it on his radio show Monday night, or if not, he'll certainly be asked about it either Tuesday or Wednesday, and we'll get some clarity there. Even if he doesn't say anything Tuesday or Wednesday, I think he would appear on the availability report, just because it's not an injury report, it's an availability report. So I think he would be listed on there as like a first half suspension or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, he is your best edge defender. He is an all SEC caliber guy. He's a, potential day one NFL type guy. You don't want to have him not be out there for a half against, Auburn, which has a very good offensive line. But again, they have good depth. And it's not for the whole game. It is a tough break if he does end up missing that. Very similar to, Michigan a couple weeks ago when they were without Jayshon Barham for the first half. Kind of a very similar play too. Like it wasn't like malicious or anything. R. Mason Thomas got flagged for roughing the passer. And then they're getting ready to snap the ball, and then they decide to review it. Like it wasn't a malicious play. I think it was a football play. But, when you slow it down, you look at the replay, like kind of the way he came in, it did look like he launched upward a little bit. It's hard to tell, like when you have to get down to that granular detail to see if it's there or not. I agree with you, though. Like the rule is, I think there needs to be some give and take with it. Like obvious malicious plays, like those are the ones that need to be penalized more.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, I mean, that's what the rule is. You got to live with it. I don't think it's going to be something that would sink Oklahoma's defense. Just we just talked about how good they are, how deep they are.
Yeah,
maybe getting him fresh for the second half would be great.
Too. Like he'll be fresh second half.
I mean, we saw how Jayshon Barham came out in that second half against Oklahoma. He was playing very well.
No doubt.
So if you need to survive a half without him, at least that like he'll be rearing to go there for the second half.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I think the malicious intent needs to be added to like what is going on with this rule, because even on the play like when Keontez Lewis got hit, I mean that was like helmet to helmet.
Yeah, smoked.
But the guy was going after the football. I think that was the same thing R. Mason Thomas was doing. He was trying to deflect the pass that was coming out of Evan Simon's arm. So like it was that situation for me. So I think the rule just needs to be maybe adjusted a little bit, because you saw it, I think, throughout the rest of college football. Lenore Sellers from South Carolina, he got hit in the head on a guy that was trying to deflect the football as well. And that became a targeting penalty. So it's like, I think LSU had one as well on their open.
Yeah, Whit Weeks got ejected in that one too.
Yeah, so like that's a lot of ejections. That's a lot of ejections.
Good players.
Yeah, that may be something that needs to be looked at, because you're taking out some of the best players in college football, and that's not good for the product overall.
I would really like, at the very least, if all things stay the same, at least make it to where you get one. You got to get two to get ejected from a game. I mean, because you can have one happen without intent, where it's like if you get two, it's like, all right, dude, you're being a little reckless out here, like I would like to at least give guys a buffer. I mean, one mistake and you're ejected. I mean, this is a game that Oklahoma was going to win easily, and they did. But like, to get ejected for that good of a player, I mean, if that happens in the Cotton Bowl or something, that's a massive deal, right? So, and I'm also just not a huge fan of the idea of a penalty affecting the next game. Like that's kind of just silly. Like I get why they do it, because you don't want to. I get why, right? But it just seems a little goofy to me.
Well, especially because like it happened with like 11, 12 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah, it was early.
If it had happened 3 or 4 minutes earlier, he just misses the rest of the Temple game.
Yeah.
Right.
If it happens at the end of the first half instead of the very beginning of the second half, he misses the Temple game and he's going to go for Auburn.
It's just crazy. Like Auburn gets to benefit from a penalty on Temple's quarterback. It's just like when you kind of lay it out, it's like a little silly. I don't know.
But that's the thing. I mean, Oklahoma got beneficial from.
Yeah, right. I mean, it works. It goes both ways.
It goes both ways. So
for sure. So we'll see what happens with that. Again, I saw it this morning. I don't love their chance of getting the appeal, but maybe they do. We'll see. We'll let you know certainly when we know over at Sooners Illustrated which way it goes. But kind of a big deal there, certainly with R. Mason Thomas going into the Auburn game this week. And I do want to peer ahead a little bit. Obviously, we'll have the week to talk about it. And certainly we'll have the game preview, obviously, on Friday, as always, to kind of set the table. But here we go. I mean, Jackson, Arnold, and Auburn are coming back to Norman this week. The rematch of the Kip 6 game last year, which was the most epic game of last year outside of, I guess, Alabama. Those are the two, and that crazy game in Auburn last year. And now here we go. They meet again. We talked about this game a lot in the offseason because it was just intriguing for a lot of reasons. It's the SEC opener. It's Jackson Arnold coming back to Norman. This is going to be a very interesting week. Jackson was actually asked about this post-game Saturday, and he basically said, I try to block out as much as I can, all that good stuff. Hugh Freeze said the same. But it's going to be the top storyline. It just is. That's the way it goes. Anytime you get a former quarterback returning to the place he just left. This is going to be quite a week, though. I mean, what are kind of some thoughts here? And we'll have the preview, obviously, later this week. But this is going to be fun. I mean, this is, a very storyline heavy game this week with Auburn coming to Norman for the SEC opener on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that you kind of see more often in college football now, obviously by the transfer portal and all that. Brent Venables said yesterday on his studio show, it's not about Jackson Arnold, it's about Auburn, and I think that's going to be the message outwardly for this team. Inside that locker room, though, I'm sure that that there's going to be some feelings about it. I don't think it's anything malicious. A lot of these guys are still friends with Jackson. It's just the way the college football works now, where you have player movement like that. But these guys are also not going to want to lose to Jackson Arnold.
I know.
Yeah.
And knowing what that defense did to him in fall camp last year in the offseason, they're going to feel like they have an edge coming in against this game. Now, Jackson Arnold has a healthy offensive line. He's got a healthy and talented receiving core around him. So he's in a better situation than he was last year this time for Oklahoma. But this is a game I think they're going to take it personally. It is a statement for them to be able to be like, yeah, we're fine without you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Oklahoma's happy with John Mateer. They should be. He's one of the Heisman front runners right now. He is delivering as advertised. But you talk about the pride that these guys have. They're not going to let their former teammate come in there and show them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. Like you said, Tom, it's not going to be like malicious intent. Nobody hates Jackson, I don't think, on that defensive side, because he actually came back and helped him out later on in the season when he came back into the South Carolina game, even after he had got benched. He could have just hung it up then and waited to transfer. So there were some good things that he did for Oklahoma. And I think just the defense just does not want to lose to Jackson Arnold, because it's just for the bragging rights. I think you want to have that for yourself. So I think that's what it's going to be for this defense going into this game, which is going to be, like you said, Josh, a big storyline.
Yeah. No, you guys said I really don't think there's any hard feelings there, really, in either direction. But that being said, this is the way it goes. Oklahoma does not want to lose to Jackson Arnold. Brent Venables does not want to lose to Jackson Arnold. And Jackson Arnold, more than anything, wants to go play well in Norman and win, right? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of emotion in this game this weekend, even though there is. Again, I agree. I don't think there's really any hard feelings there. But that doesn't change the fact that both sides want to win this game really, really badly. So it'll be fun to watch. I'm curious to see what kind of the fan reception is. I imagine the fans will be on them, which that's how it goes. That's sports. That's college football. So it'll be fun though. It'll be cool to see him back in there. And I asked him about it. At SEC Media Days, so he come back to Norman, and he said it'd be cool. I mean, he was looking forward to it. He said he has a lot of good memories at that stadium. And so. He acknowledged Brent Venables will probably throw some stuff at me that I won't be ready for, and we'll just have to adjust with it. It's going to be fun, and we'll talk about it on Friday. So we'll lay it out, the game preview, and I'm sure it'll come up in the press conference tomorrow, and certainly and maybe with player interviews tonight. I don't know who we're going to talk to tonight, but might come up if we get any former teammates, and stuff like that. So
it would be incredible if we only got
new guys
and freshmen today.
Yeah, I had that thought, just nobody that played with Jack, which is really everyone on offense, with the exception of a couple. It's such a new offense, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun, and it'll be a major storyline, I'm sure, all week long around here and as well out there in Auburn for sure. But SEC play this week, going to be exciting. Looking forward to it. It's an afternoon kick. Should be a packed house and a great environment, and it'll be a lot of fun. But we'll preview all that on Friday. The recruiting show with Colin on Thursday. We'll lay out the visitor list for this weekend. A lot to kind of get into there. It's going to be another big visitor list for this game on Saturday. So we'll preview all that with Colin Kennedy on Thursday. So not going to miss that. The three of us will be back, like I said, game preview on Friday. Player interviews tonight, Monday. Press conference with Brent Venables and Ben Arbuckle can be watched on the YouTube channel, of course, on Tuesday. A reminder again, subscribe over at Sooners Illustrated, Oklahoma.247sports.com.
60.
Sooners Pod 60, the promo code. 60% off. Be with us for what should be a very entertaining week around here. Another big game coming up on Saturday. They're kind of all big games rest of the way. Sans Kent State. It's going to be big games every week. That's SEC for you. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun rest of the season, I think, around here as Oklahoma tries to do some big things.
Oklahoma started 3-0 the last 3 seasons under Brett, right? So this is the.
It's a little different this year. You have a Michigan win under your belt.
Exactly.
They were 3-0 last year. And 3-0 the year that they went 6-7 the first time too, for what it's worth. But
and obviously started 7-0 in 23.
7-0. Yeah. So, but again, feels a little different this time. But we'll see. SEC play this weekend. That's it for now. We'll be back on Thursday for the Crew Show with Colin, 3 of us, with the game preview on Friday. For Tom Green, James D. Jackson, I'm Josh Callaway. Signing off. We'll see you next time right back here, as always, on Sooners Illustrated.
See you.